Hello to all of you, all of us here at Julian Campbell Foundation. And today we are really pleased to be talking about some of the things that, as mentors, as mood mentors for young people between the ages of 7 or 8 years old up to 25, what kind of things they're dealing with, what kind of problems and situations they are coming to us with, so we can help them manage their mental health and well-being. Hello there, Singer Jewelry. Lovely to see you. And some of the things, I'm just going to list some of the things. We're going to talk about the top three in detail. And then if you want to find out more, then, we can always, please do contact us. But young people today, they're dealing with so many things. And a lot of our young people are looking after their parents. They're looking after sick parents. They are having bullying and peer pressure situations which are difficult to them to handle. Their parents are restrained and they are struggling to deal with that. And also as well, they need a space to explore their feelings, feelings around their own sexuality, feelings around peers and friendship groups and things that they're dealing with in their lives. And also as well, pressures from school, pressures about their exams, about revision, and all of these things they don't really want to worry their parents about. Or if they do speak with their parents, we're going to go on to the next thing now, what kind of things us as parents can say that stop them from going on. So let's say, for example, a lot of the young people we're supporting, they're either being bullied or they have a peer pressure situation. So when I say peer pressure situation, it could be, for example, a lot of young people are under pressure to have smartphones. And they will, and I know one situation, one young person was talking to his mom and dad relentlessly until he got the phone, until he got the smartphone. And sometimes it's difficult for our young people when they're in these situations, when they do have this peer pressure, like how do they stand up for themselves instead of following the crowd? And sometimes a young person might come to an adult and speak about what it is that they're dealing with, and as a parent or a carer, we don't want them to be upset. But what a lot of young parents are saying is, well, look, there's nothing wrong with you. Pull yourself together. And when they're saying there's nothing wrong with you, why are you upset about that? That stops a young person from sharing what they're dealing with. And as parents and carers, it's really, really important that we listen actively to the young person, because a lot of the times maybe we're not going to be happy with what they're saying if they're exploring their own sexuality, or if they're being bullied, or there's some peer pressure, or they're dealing with something else and they're coming and they're saying things that we as parents and carers might be upset about, and we don't want the young person in our life to be upset. And it's especially at this moment that we need to listen and not say a word and not pass a judgment or anything like that, because in doing that and passing a judgment, then the young person will close down and they won't be able to explore under your watch what it is that's actually happening. So some of the things that we can do as parents and carers is that every day, for a fixed amount of time, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes or half an hour, and it needs to be done every day, that we listen to our young person or that young person in our lives without any judgment, without saying anything, without trying to take things away. So for example, a young person comes in and says, yeah, everybody has got this phone and they're calling me names because I haven't got this phone. And immediately we want to protect and we want to save that young person from being upset, from any, from this mistreatment. And a good thing to do is to say nothing and listen and really get that. Oh, so that's what's going on. Like, you have this phone, everybody has the phone, the smartphone, and you don't. What's that like for you? And then let them guide and listen and be in their world, and don't try to fix it. For example, I'll go out and get a smartphone, and don't judge. Like, how am I supposed to afford a phone like this? Do you know how much it costs? Do you know how much I work? And all this, that, and the other. Because it's really important that we listen and that we really understand and get the communication. And wherever the young person is, and they might be upset. Now, some of you would have seen some of the sessions where we've looked at a mood map. And we use a mood map to help a young person develop their emotional intelligence. And it's really, really important that our young people know their mood or know their emotions or where they are in the mood map. And it doesn't matter if something is negative. It doesn't matter if it's a negative mood. It doesn't matter if it's stress or they're anxious or they're depressed about something. What matters is that they know where they are, and then they've got a choice of whether they want to stay there or not. And then through speaking with you or you listening to them and what they're dealing with, they can then start moving their mood state. And this is the start of emotional intelligence. So far we've been talking about we've listed most of the things that young people are dealing with and they're afraid to talk to their parents about, and we're speculating and looking at why they would come to us as mood mentors and share with us what it is that they're dealing with. And they wouldn't be able to do that with a parent or carer, because a parent or carer, in being emotionally invested, wants to try and save or protect a young person from being upset, from being hurt. So immediately they will jump to their defense and say, you shouldn't worry about that. It doesn't impact you. Don't be like that. And that isn't really helping them. What we need to do is to let our young person feel that mood or be in that mood state. And then what we can do as adults, through listening to them and validating their emotions and saying things like, yeah, I know that you seem really upset by this, and and I understand why you're upset, and really getting that and being with it. Then they can start opening up more, and they'll be able to get to the answer themselves without us trying to protect them. Because here's the thing, if we protect them this way and we negate what it is that they're feeling, and we say things like, look, there's nothing wrong with you, you shouldn't be upset, I don't understand why this is upsetting you, then we're not helping them to deal with an upset constructively. And what can happen is, because we're not there showing them and modeling how we would deal with an upset and then helping them through it, they're not going to have that emotional intelligence for them to be able to go on in the future and deal powerfully with further upsets. Because believe you me, we know that all of these things will happen in our lives. And for them to be able to handle it and know how to manage it with your guidance while they're young is just such a positive thing. So we've been talking about, we mentioned 6 things that young people come to us and speak about, and they're afraid to speak about these same things with their parents. And so one of them is bullying, one of them is peer pressure. We've spoken about that. And the second one we want to talk about are estranged parents. So parents that are split up, that are divorced, that are no longer together. It's really difficult for the young person. We have mood mentored, or we've mentored many young people who are in the middle of a war. It seems to them to be like a war, like mum and dad are acting and are behaving in a way that they never did before, and they're in the middle. And quite often parents will say, one parent will say to our mentee, well, you tell your mum this, and then the mother will say, well, you tell your dad that. So it's like they're using the child as a go-between, and that can be really, really stressful for the young child. And then when we as adults, we're behaving in a way that's uncharacteristic and not demonstrating love, this can be really devastating for our children, because they are seeing their parents behave in such a way that isn't conducive to their mental health and well-being, and not forgetting that we as adults, we are showcasing, we are modeling behavior, and we are modeling through our behavior our emotional intelligence. And we see families of, or parents or families that have split up, that are not like that, that treat they treat their ex with the love and the compassion and the respect, and the young person growing up in that will be much happier. They'll feel so much at ease and content, because of course all children want their parents together. I mean, that goes without saying. Then in this world, if they're not together, then it's really for us to be able to model our behavior so they can see what healthy relationships looks like and boundaries look like as well. Because I mean, a lot of our young people, they're taking their GCSEs, they're taking their exams, and when we manage things in a certain way, it really is helpful for them to have their, you know, strong amounts of emotional intelligence, for them to deal powerfully with their lives. And another situation or type of young person that we're supporting quite a lot of are parents, or one parent that is very ill, and a young person is a carer, and they are balancing or trying to balance their work and their studies and their homework, their revision for their exams, with their duty and care of looking after a parent. And and it's important that they are heard, that they are validated, and they are supported in helping them to negotiate for themselves a schedule that works, that has something, a schedule that has time for themselves, as well as honoring their revision and all of their duties, aside from looking after their parents. And we have young people that um, have pressure, that are under pressure from work, um, and their careers. So a lot of young people, of course, they want to be like their parents. So if their parents are accountants, then they might want to be an accountant. If their parents are teachers, they might want to be teachers, and all of these things. And some of the young people that we are speaking with, or many of them, they are not interested in doing what their parents are doing, then they want to go and explore something else. And their parents are really passionate and really care about their future and want them, for example, if they're accountants, they want them to be accountants, and they're not listening to the young person and what it is that they want to do with their lives. And this could be really, really stressful for a young person, because again, they feel like they're not validated, they're not being listened to. And then if they're not being validated, not being listened to, then the support structure they need to get through their GCSEs isn't there. And again, what we would say, our mentors, our mood mentors, are trained in listening skills. And so they listen to and really they listen actively to young people, because young people, they know the answer. And it's just for them to be able to come up with it without any outside influences, so they can come to a decision that or a choice that they feel happy with, and they feel really that they feel really happy with. So schoolwork and their option choices and what they're going on to do, this is another important thing, because a lot of our young people, they're studying because their parents say, well, you know, I want you to study this and I want you to do that, and the young person themselves don't want to do it. And so as parents or carers, it's really important that these young people, the young people in your life, are heard, because when they're studying, it really helps if it's something that they're really passionate about and they really like and they really want to do. Because here's the thing, if things get really difficult which they will when you're taking GCSEs and A levels. There are some difficult times where coursework and homework might have to be resubmitted, or revising for a particular exam is really, really difficult. And if there's an underlying love and a desire to do that subject, then that really helps. If it's something they're doing to please their parents or to please somebody else, then it's not really going to work very well for them, and it's not going to work very well for the parents. And this happens a lot. This causes a lot of pressure. This causes a lot of stress. And we, as mood mentors, we're here to help a young person not only know when they are stressed out, but to do certain activities and things to help them manage their mental health and well-being, manage their stress, and overcome it. So today we're looking at things that our young people are dealing with, and a lot of them are coming and speaking with us about these things, and we usually stay with them until they have managed, and then they've overcome what it is that they're dealing with. And so they go back into their lives. They're able to manage their mental health and well-being. Because they can manage their mental health and well-being, they know if they're feeling, they know what stresses them out, and they know how to manage that and increase their levels of emotional intelligence and manage themselves in such a way that it helps them have a lot more positivity, and it gives them a structure within which they can do their work, their revision schedules. Then so much the better. So as parents and carers, what 3 things can we do to support the young person in our lives? The most important thing is listening, to really listen to a young person without judgment, without trying to fix or change or anything, just really listening to the young person and getting where it is that they're coming from, what kind of mood state they are, and what it is that they're dealing with. And so that's the most important thing, listening. And we've suggested that 20 minutes a day to half an hour a day, and it needs to be every day, is really enough for our young people to feel heard. And also as well, like lots of research shows that families that have dinners together at least 5 times a week, this is just really great, because it gives an opportunity for a young person to share what their day was like, as well as adults, because we are showcasing and modeling how we deal with our mental health and well-being. No phones on the table, no tablets, it's just person to person. This is just a real help. So what can we do other than listening and listening actively to our young people to help them come to their own conclusions about any situation that they're dealing with? Also, we'd say that a good night's sleep, 8 hours sleep, is really important, because we have a lot of young people, they are going to bed sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even later, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and waking up at 7. And because we have our young people and their brains are developing, their frontal cortex is developing. And what's happening, a lot of research is showing that the frontal cortex of today's teenagers and young people isn't as developed, because we are not encouraging them to be out there with their friends, or with us, that human contact, the contact is the social contact. We're allowing them to stay in computer games, in tablets, and all of these things, and that's not really good for their brains. So 8 hours sleep is really crucial. And some of our young people, they say to us that you, as parents and carers, that that they're waking up or they're going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you are fine with it. I'm sure that's not the case. And there is an impact, because if a young person has 6 hours a night sleep for a year, then this really impacts their grades, and they get on an average 2 grades lower than they would if they had 8 hours sleep for that year. So thank you for listening to this video. In this video, we've talked about what our mood mentors are doing and how they are supporting young children and people, what kind of conundrums and situations our young people are dealing with. So thank you for listening to this video. If you're watching on the rerun, please do comment and please give us some feedback and let us know what you'd like us to speak about next week in our next week's video. So happy holidays, everybody, and thank you for watching this video.